Let's take a look at Heat 1A, the Miss Budweiser with Tom Deep. In the Jackpot Food Mark, it'll be Steve David. In the Mr. Pringles, George Woods Jr. In the Oh Boy Oberto, the rookie driver, Mark Tate.
Well, as they come down now for the start, that water is still choppy, Dick Crippen. And look at the Budweiser in lane 2 coming on strong.
Certainly that's going to be the boat to watch here. We can see Jeff Presents Mr. Pringles on the far outside nearest to you as the boats come down and take the start. Get a little bit loose in there for the Oh Boy Oberto. Sponson walking down the front straightaway. You can see the Miss Budweiser's doing a little bit of it, as is Jeff Presents Mr. Pringles. But right now, both of those boats under control. What a great shot from inside the Miss Budweiser. Tommy Deep driving this boat across Lake Mead. There you see the outside shot. What a terrific shot from our in-boat cam. And there's Oh Boy Oberto, the rookie driver, Mark Tate, who's had a pretty outstanding year.
And watch how that water comes off the sponson. When it comes up that far forward of the driver, you know he is sloping into some rough water. It should be coming about 9 inches from the back sponson or the skid fin. As he hangs it on the hook, they come down and complete lap number 1. Look at him get loose.
A lot of water being sprayed up into that intake, air intake on the top of the boat where the turbine engine gets all of its air from, but I'll tell you, it's not going to bother him too much. This is an inland lake, so there's not too much problem. However, the speed, not what Tommy wanted at 116 miles per hour. He really just has to beat the second place boat as we go back inside one more time.
You can hear the pounding. You hear it slap in the bottom of the boat. If you listen carefully, next time we have it in-camera shot. He's about 4 miles an hour faster than the second place, Mr. Pringles.
Miss Budweiser taking the hits as she goes across the water from the top of wave to the top of wave. Holding beautifully, though. Tommy Deep adjusting those fins on the boat, the airfoils and such, to keep the boat in good trim as she goes around this course here on Lake Mead. The crowd getting a thrill. And look at this battle. Oh boy, Oberto had gotten a little light on the start, but he apparently adjusted things out, and now he's tying it up with the Jeff Presents Mr. Pringles, George Woods Jr. George Woods Jr. in the boat on the outside to the left of your screen as they come through the turn.
And by keeping his RPMs up, look at George Woods Jr. blow past Mark Tate and over Alberto and takes over second at the end of lap 2, and 2 miles an hour faster for this boat. Our leader, he's now up to 118.3 miles per hour.
Still not the speeds that they would like to get on this course, but there you can see why as the Mr. Pringles jumps in and out of the water, going back and forth on the sponsons. You can see the third place boat right behind him, Mark Tate in Oh Boy Oberto. But so far, the dominant factor has been the red and white Miss Budweiser. Once again, we give you the thrill of the ride.
We're on the green flag lap. He's up over a little 120 mile an hour right now, so he's picked up speed every lap. This is a 3-lap sprint here in Heat 1A, as they all will be until the final when we race 5 full laps.
These boats are capable of upwards of 220 miles an hour on the straightaways. They will not be hitting those speeds in this rough water out here today. See Tom Deep looking, and he is looking for the checkered flag. We wanted to give you a chance to hear the pounding of the water on the bottom of that boat as he completes Heat 1A. He's coming down to take the checkered flag. George Woods Jr. will get second, but look at how Mark Tate closed him down at the very end. He'll take third, but just by about a boat length. There's your final finish with Jackpot Foods rounding out the field in fourth.
Tom Deep, 1 down, 3 to go.
3 more heats, and this year will be history. I hope we can do the same in all the next 3 heats. 400 points in every one, and we got this thing wrapped.
Your speeds, they progressively got faster as the heat went down, although your fastest lap was only 120. How's the water conditions?
Water conditions are pretty rough, but it's same for everybody out there, so we just have to, do the best we can with what we have.
Now, you've had a lot of decisions to make about boats, but I also know that you wear a scarf, a red one when you want experience, and a blue one when you want luck. You went with the red. Why?
Well, just I need all the experience I can out here. It's a real rough race, and I'm going to have to really call back on some memories to figure out what I got to do when I pull Chip.
Leading off in Heat 1B is the Miss Circus Circus, Chip Hanauer. The Hulset, Miss Madison, Mike Hansen. The Winston Eagle, the man you just met, Jim Kropfeld. Cooper's Express, Mitch Evans.
As they come down, it's Circus in lane 2 at Dick Crippen. Look who's on the inside. It's going to be the Winston Eagle on the right of your screen.
And that's the way they're going to start neck and neck. The Winston Eagle on the right of your screen, that day-glow red boat, and right alongside him, going sponson to sponson, is the pink lady, the Circus boat of Chip Hanauer. Look at Chip add the speed to it. He knows he's got to win every heat out here to keep himself in the chase for that national championship.
And as we talked to Jim Cropfield earlier, he'd like to be the spoiler as they come off the back chute off of corner number 2, side by side, diving for corner number 3 on this 2-mile oval.
And don't forget, the pink boat on the outside is the boat that has to win. Chip Hanauer has no choice in this. Meanwhile, on the inside, very, very light, Winston Eagle, the boat driven by Jimmy Cropfield, who himself said earlier he can relax, he can enjoy it, he can have fun with it. He has no real pressure on him at this point.
Well, if that's relaxation, what he's doing right now, I wouldn't want to be in an exciting position. 126.736 on lap number 1, fastest lap of the day so far.
And he is flying that boat high, and that's the way he likes to drive it. Chip has tremendous confidence in that boat. Now back in second place, it's the Winston Eagle, Jim Cropfield. Again, these speeds are not quite as high as they would be on a calm course when these boats, especially this one, hit upwards of 220 miles an hour earlier this year. Chip Hanauer at this point just wanted to battle off, get himself into first place, hold off the Winston Eagle to take it. And it looks like Winston Eagle may be developing a little problem there. He came down a little bit off the plane.
He's down about 32 mile an hour less than the last lap, from 122.2 down to a little over 90 mile an hour, so he does have a problem.
No problem at all for the Circus boat as Chip Hanauer keeps his foot right on the accelerator. He's not really backing off that much. He'll be able to now, though. I'm sure he's getting the radio in. 125.945 miles per hour. That puts him right up in the 190 mile an hour range on the straightaways.
And about 35 miles an hour faster than Winston Eagle, as we're looking at the Winston Eagle right now, lap 2, so something has happened to Jim Cropfield's boat. We're on the green flag lap, and he'll have taken the gauntlet, picked it up from Budweiser's. Uh-oh, look at here. Whole set, Miss Madison. Smoking, doesn't look like they're going to finish in that boat. Moving in the third is Scoobers Express with Mitch Evans. As I said, 400 points now for Chip Hanauer. Checkered flag waiting. He'll have kept pace with the earlier Heat 1A win by the Miss Budweiser.
Well, Chip said earlier today he has got to win everything in sight in order to stand a shot at that national championship, and he pops it out of the water as sort of a victory flyby, if you will, for the Circus coming down to take the checkered flag. This will be it for Chip Hanauer. Chip has got to be very, very pleased with the performance of his boat. He really put it through the rigors of this course here on Lake Mead, and she did just fine. Second place, Jim Cropfield in the Winston Eagle. I'm sure they'll be anxious to get that boat on the trailer and take a look at it, see if they can figure out what happened. Anyway, Cooper's Express in third. Miss Madison did not finish. Let's go to the pits and Mark Spencer.
Chip, at first glance, those look like give-me heats, but that run to the first corner, it wasn't easy.
No, you know, anytime you draw Jim Cropfield, you know it's not going to be easy. We found the same thing in the final in San Diego. He's tough.
Now, your average speeds up in the higher 120 bracket, faster than Tommy Deeth won the first heat. Were you sending him a little message?
No, we were just trying to find a place where the boat would run comfortably, but unfortunately, there's no place you can run comfortably out here. It's just so darn rough.
Now, the best race of the day probably is going to be up to the judges' stand to see what the draw is for the second heat.
Yeah, it's going to have a lot to tell. I think instead of having one final today, there could be as many now as 3 finals. So we'll just have to wait and see what luck brings us.
And here's a treat. You are going to the draw.
For Heat 2A, U6, Holset Miss Madison. 2B, U2, Oh Boy Oberto. 2A, U8, Mr. Pringles. 2B, U3, Cooper's Express. 2A, U31, Miss Circus. 2B, U10, the Winston Eagle. 2A, U19, Jackpot Foods. 2B, U1, Miss Budweiser.
Well, we certainly hope to have none of those problems here today as we look at the start for Heat 2A. Circus, holds at Miss Madison. Chip presents Mr. Pringles. And the Jackpot Food Mart boat, which happens to be the yellow boat to the right of your screen in lane number 1. Watch very closely now. Again, we have the situation where Circus Circus has got to win every heat that she enters in order to stay in contention for the national championships. Chip Hanauer leading off into corner number 1. Second place now as the rainbow-colored Jip presents Mr. Pringles. Chip Hanauer with the boat under control.
And Dick, you know, right now here in Heat 2A, as we look at our second place boat, Mr. Pringles, the Circus Circus wins this heat, picks up 400 points. He'll take a 227-point lead and throw the gauntlet down in Heat 2B for Budweiser to duplicate this victory.
It's amazing because early on in the season, these two boats seemed to match up all the time. They were constantly battling each other in each of the heats. It's just later in the season that the luck of the draw has been such that they've been allowed to run solo, if you will, in each of the heats. So we've still got a big confrontation coming later this afternoon. And meanwhile, don't count out that Jip presents Mr. Pringles. George Woods Jr. doing a fine job back there. You can see him in second place, about 7 boat lengths off Chip Hanauer, who leads this pack. But Chip, I noticed one thing, has not backed off at all. 128.411. He's still up in that fast lap range that he was in earlier.
Right now he's a little over 120 mile an hour, so he slowed down a little bit, but not too much. And that's the characteristic of this driver. As we look at our second place boat, it is George Woods Jr. and Jeff presents Mr. Pringles.
Back in third place, a little bit of a battle going on between the Jackpot Food Mart with Steve David and the Wholesome Miss Madison with Mike Hansen. But the leader out front is alone. Chip Hanauer doing just a great job. Look at how the boat bounces, but he comes back down pretty flat. So the boat is staying in a very good attitude. He's got it under control, even though at times it looks like he might be losing that control. The important thing is he is keeping his speed high. So now the second place boat, George Woods Jr. and Chip presents Mr. Pringles, is going to be satisfied with second place. He's just going to hold his equipment together. Here's the battle we talked about earlier. On the inside, the right of your screen, it's the yellow boat, the Jackpot Food Mart. On the left side of your screen, blue and white, it is the Wholesome Miss Madison, and they've got quite a little battle going.
And I believe Mr. Steve David in the yellow boat and, of course, Mike Hansen in the blue and white are having a little fun about this time. And here comes the whole set, Miss Madison, at the end of lap 2 with one more lap to go. It's whole set, Miss Madison, moving into third place.
Still your leader, Circus Circus, Chip Hanauer, the man who knows he has a mission. He has got to win every race he has entered in today to stay in the hunt for the Miss Budweiser. And he also knows that sooner or later today, he is going to have to face off against the Miss Budweiser. It could happen in the next series of heats. It will definitely happen in the final, assuming both boats make it later. The winner of Heat 2A, Chip Hanauer, in the Circus Circus, second place, goes to Jip presents Mr. Pringles. A fine ride for George Woods Jr. And now Steve David and Wholesome Miss Madison back and forth. It is going to be Jackpot Food Marts for third place. Miss Madison finishes out in fourth. Let's go to Jim Hendrick.
Well, Chip, I think you're serving notice. You've thrown the gauntlet down. Now you didn't draw him, which you wanted to do. Now the Budweiser has to follow suit and to keep pace.
Yeah, you know, it's just unfortunate. We're in the city of gambling, and we've gone to the gambling table twice in 2 heats and come up empty. So hopefully the cards will go our way next time.
128.4, your first lap, fastest lap of the day. Why are you driving that hard?
Well, to get up and over the rough stuff. We can go slower, but then the boat beats itself so bad that it's actually easier on the equipment to get the boat up and get some air under it and get going.
The HFC Hydroplane Series this week from Las Vegas, Nevada. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Now let's take an inside look at unlimited hydroplane racing here in Las Vegas, brought to you by Performance Corner. For high-performance parts in over 700 stores nationwide, call 1-800-533-8989 for the Performance Corner nearest you.
The word performance, it means going fast, but they've also got to make them last. Doug, engine reliability seems to be way up this year.
It certainly is, Mark. You know, this year our top point getters, the Miss Budweiser and the Miss Circus Circus, they've only failed to finish 2 heats all season long. And how do they do it? Well, this year we've added computers on board to measure the engines, measure the propellers, find out how well they're doing, how close they're pushing it to the edge. The engines are all dyno tested to find out how far they can be pushed before they break. And these boats are torn down to the last nut and bolt between every race to find out what's going to break and fix it before it happens. You can't win a race if you're stopping on the race course. These crews are good at it, and our performance is way up this year.
Speeds are way up this year, and we probably have the most demanding schedule in years. Ron Brown, why is the Miss Budweiser so reliable?
Well, Mark, like in any type of form of racing and sports, it's the dependability and reliability that has to win a championship. So we've geared ourselves to this every season in the wintertime in the shop, and the preparation of the equipment, again, to win a championship just has to be that way, and these guys thrive in making sure that everything is prepared right down to every nut and bolt.
The points chase, it's going to come right down to the final race. Dave, it's been a long season. You've had a tremendous amount of reliability. Why?
I think it's the crew. I think we have the best crew in unlimited racing. They pay a lot of attention to detail, and I think it shows on the race course.
And they pay a lot of attention to the fans. The sport is really attuned to those who are watching.
I think we have a responsibility to show the sport in a good light, and especially to young people. I think there's a lot of professional sports out there that are showing sportsmanship in a very bad light, and I would like to think that unlimited hydroplane racing can set a good example for young people, that win or lose, you can still have dignity and you can still have class.
We get ready now for Heat 2B, the Miss Budweiser, Winston Eagle, Cooper's Express, and Oh Boy Oberto. On the inside to the right of your screen, it is the red and white boat, Miss Budweiser. There is the start. Miss Budweiser is in the lead. Let's go inside and listen to the waves. Pretty exciting moment when you can get inside of one of these and hear what it's like to the driver out on the course. Meanwhile, the Winston Eagle is trying to come up on the outside to take over second place. He's going to have a ways to go to catch Tommy Deeth, but he can definitely be the spoiler.
As we come down the back chute here on lap number 1, we see our second and third place competitors trailing the Miss Budweiser with Tommy Deeth at the wheel. Tommy right now is 227 points behind the Circus in the National High Point Chase, but with a win here, if he can maintain this lead, Dick Crippen, he'll move back to his original 173-point lead going into today's action.
Truly a seesaw battle of the points as these two boats, the Circus and the Miss Budweiser, battle it out. Now we look at a battle between the Miss Budweiser and the Winston Eagle. Jim Cropfeld is closing them down ever so slightly. Meanwhile, there's a little problem for him just off to his left from the driver's side, and that, of course, is Mark Tate, the rookie in the green and white predominant boat known as Oh Boy Oberto.
And there's not too much room between these two boats. The way they're bouncing, very dangerous, but these guys know what they're doing.
Oh boy, Oberto was really tending to the light side, and this has not been a good course for that boat this weekend. Here's a shot inside the Miss Budweiser. Have you ever wondered what it'd be like at about 180 miles per hour inside one of those canopies? I think you could say that would be just a bit of a rush. Second place, the battle continues. Right now, the Winston Eagle is the leader and holding on to second place. The leader of the overall race, though, the red and white boat, another boat that has got to win everything that she rides in today, the Miss Budweiser with Tom Deeth. Oh boy, Oberto, Jim, just will not back off, will he?
Nope. Mark Tate is getting the ride today, and he's really ready to hang out. He takes over momentarily second place from the Winston Eagle as they come down. And by golly, he might just win second place here today over Jim Cropfeld from Cincinnati.
That's a battle that'll be determined on the straightaways, and at the moment it looks like the Oh Boy Oberto may have him on speed, but Oh Boy Oberto's got to be very careful in those corners because he really has been getting extremely light. Right now, though, Oh Boy Oberto's second. Winston Eagle is in third. Take a look at the ride of that second place boat. Oh Boy Oberto, this young man, a rookie this year, Mark Tate out of Michigan, has done just a fine job. They started out with a piston packer, if you will, and went to the turbine engine mid-season, and they have been developing it ever since. And this is what they would like their turbine to run like. Here comes the checkered flag. Another win going to go into the pocket of Bernie Little, the owner of the Miss Budweiser, and the driver, Tom Deeth. They get the checkered flag here on Lake Mead for the second time today. Second place, a good reward for a hard drive to Mark Tate in Oh Boy Oberto. That means that Winston Eagle, Jimmy Cropfeld, has finished third place out there. He still could be the spoiler today, so watch him closely. There's your final readout from Heat 2B, Cooper's Express, rounding out the field in fourth.
You are breathing a little better? Yeah, I really am, Jim. We want to get these three behind us and then go boat racing.
Tommy, he threw the gauntlet down, as you did. You won 1A, he had to answer the challenge at 1B. You throw it, he threw it down at 2A, you've answered in 2B. Where do we go from here? It's still very tight.
Oh, yeah. Well, the points battle is going to go right to the final heat. There's no doubt about that. And we're just going to keep working on Miss Budweiser and making her faster and faster every time we put her in the water. And hopefully we're going to win this deal.
As Tommy Deeth gets dressed in his lei for Hawaii, the next stop, let's go to the draw for the next heats.
In 3B, here we go for the draw. 3A, U31, Miss Circus Circus. 3B, U19, 91X Jackpot Food Mart. 3A, U1, Miss Budweiser. 3B,
Well, there's your matchup. This is what they've been looking for all day long. These two boats will match up, the Circus Circus and the Miss Budweiser, in Heat 3A. Mr. Pringles could actually be a very big spoiler here if indeed George Woods could get that boat to move to the front of the pack and hold off those two. Well, I don't know how it's going to work out, but we'll find out shortly as we return to Las Vegas, Nevada in the 1990 Budweiser Las Vegas Silver Cup. Welcome back to Lake Mead outside of Las Vegas, Nevada, where we've got a head-to-head battle shaping up. You saw the draw. Let's review it. The Miss Circus Circus with Chip Hanauer. The Miss Budweiser with Tom Deeth. Also, the Hulsup Miss Madison, Mike Hansen. And the Jip presents Mr. Pringles with George Woods Jr. This is the battle we've waited for the first time today, Jim.
And on the inside, it's the Miss Budweiser, Tommy Deeth. He has the inside, so he has the advantage as they fought for the last 2 minutes. And finally, it's Tommy Deeth winning the inside pole position, if you will. And in second slot is the Circus Circus. Third is Mr. Pringles as they come down for the all-important start.
And Mr. Pringles tries to take the start away from the Miss Budweiser. Doesn't do it. Miss Budweiser holding on the inside. You can see Circus Circus got a little bit light. There's your duel. Neck and neck, side by side. Watch the boats hard as they throw them into the turn, and those big skid fins catch on. And you know, we must point out that there was a problem with the skid fin of the Circus Circus in an earlier race. Whoa, he got way high. He apparently caught part of the rooster tail off the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer brought it back down onto the water, though, but those few split seconds gave the Miss Budweiser about 4 boat lengths over the second place boat.
This, if it maintains, will give the Miss Budweiser a tremendous advantage going into the next heat, which is the final, if he can maintain and pick up 400 points inside the cockpit of the Miss Budweiser, Tommy Deeth.
You can hear the waves hit against it. He will not back off it this time around. He's increased his lead to about 5 boat lengths, roughly 8 miles an hour over the Circus Circus Chip Hanauer. Now, whether Chip will decide to just sit in second place and pull it down to the final or actually go for it, we are yet to see.
Hold it, Dick. Hold it, Dick. We're getting word from the URC, Unlimited Racing Commission Radio, that the referees in the helicopter are you ready? They have disqualified the Miss Budweiser for an infraction on corner number 2 in turn 1.
Well, apparently the Miss Budweiser moved out because it looked like the Circus Circus caught a little bit of that rooster tail. Whatever happened down there, the officials have made the call. So your lead boat, the Miss Budweiser, has been disqualified. Your actual lead boat by the statistics or by the scorers is the pink lady right there, the Miss Circus Circus, Chip Hanauer. I don't know if he's been told yet on his radio because he's still hitting it awfully hard in there, and the water has really calmed down a little bit.
This is not the first time the Miss Budweiser and the Circus Circus have tangled in turn number 1 of the heat. One time the Circus Circus airborne over a rooster tail. One time the Miss Budweiser went sideways and airborne. We've had tremendous pressure on skid fins that have broken loose. They've been battling all year long. And it's strange that a prophecy is now being fulfilled before race time. Talking to Jim Krupfeld, he said it would be a shame if an official decision would decide the national championship, and that could be very well true here today.
Well, we've still got more racing to go today to find out who is going to win that national championship. It is not yet over. You did get an opportunity a moment ago to see the third place boat. The Jip presents Mr. Pringles. Right now, that boat is third in the run, but is actually second in positioning for the race. This is the lead boat. Second in the run, but the leader overall is Chip Hanauer in the Circus Circus. The lead boat on the run is the red and white Miss Budweiser, but that boat has been disqualified for for an earlier infraction at the near start of the race.
And that will put this winner, Miss Circus Circus, as we go to the final heat, the next time he makes an appearance, 227 points in front with one more heat to go for the National High Point HFC Championship.
Officially, second place goes to the Jip Presents Mr. Pringles with George Woods Jr. There's the boat that was disqualified. Miss Madison did not start the race, so Circus Circus first, Mr. Pringles second.
Chip Hanauer in an incredible season, one incredible event.
Well, you know, it's just really disappointing. I could have gone upside down and got really hurt. The boat went way up in the air. There was no reason for him to do that. We were going to have a good 3-lap race, and he just tried to end it at one time, and that was really dangerous.
Now, you go into the final up comfortably ahead. What will be your strategy?
I don't know. We got to sit down and talk and see what the number situation is. I haven't had a chance to look at them yet, but we just got to keep our nose to the grindstone.
We'll be back with more action from Las Vegas, Nevada on the HFC Hydroplane Series 1990 in just a moment.
Back in Las Vegas, Nevada, here is a look at that incident on the first corner. There you can see the Circus Circus flies high, left sponson way up in the air, apparently caught the rooster tail of the Miss Budweiser. The Miss Budweiser now being brought back in. The difference in points, just 227-point advantage to the Circus Circus. In this next heat, it'll be the Winston Eagle, Jim Kropfeld driving. The Jackpot Food Mart, which finished out in a third place with Steve David. Cooper's Express, Mitch Evans, also a consistent day. Oh boy, Alberto, Mark Tate has had a very good day. So we should see some good competitive action as we start Heat 3B. Off the pin, it is going to be the Winston Eagle boat. Jim Kropfeld, the man who we said earlier could be a spoiler today, still garnering in those points, trying to keep himself very much in it for the final heat later this afternoon.
And, of course, the Winston Eagle with a victory here will qualify for the final, and Jim Kropfeld is looking to bigger and better things in 1991. Although we have one more race to go on the 1990 circuit, this is the final race for points. They consider the Honolulu, Hawaii Pearl Harbor race as the first race of 1991 because of the American Powerboat Association calendar year.
Third place was Cooper's Express, and you can see the battle that he was having with the Jackpot Food Mart on the inside. This is your lead boat, the Winston Eagle, and he's getting a little bit of a rough ride out there. Second place right now is the Oh Boy Alberto, and he has got himself a battle. It looks like Cooper's Express has passed him up and now has taken over second, 124.480. There you see the battle as Cooper's Express takes over the Oh Boy Alberto. So Cooper's Express now riding in second. This boat had a very good run earlier today. Second place will put it way up in the point standings.
Yes, a second place finish would be fine for this boat, the Cooper's Express, with Mitch Evans, the boat out of Evansville, Indiana. But look at Mark Tate coming up on the inside that rooster tail. He'll challenge for second again as we come off of corner number 2 and starting down the back stretch on lap number 2.
The boats with the piston engines seem to look heavier. You don't expect them to bounce out of the water the way they do, because actually, like the turbine boats, they are riding on that pocket of air. They get airborne very easily, as heavy as they are. And there you can see a good airborne shot of the Winston Eagle. Look at this battle for second place. The Oh Boy Alberto is the boat that's nearest to you on the outside. It is Cooper's Express, Mitch Evans, both of them flying high, and a little bit lighter for the Oh Boy Alberto. Mark Tate held it back down onto the water, and he is still trying for second. It looks like he took it coming off the turn.
The boat on your left, the Cooper's Express, the fastest piston boat ever in the history of the sport. He's coming on the challenge again, the turbine-powered Oh Boy Alberto.
These are two drivers doing a fine job. They are really putting on a show for the folks here in Las Vegas, Nevada, out on Lake Mead. They've got a lot of excitement going as this battle continues for second place. It would be a feather in the cap of either of these drivers to take second in this race. Still your leader is the Winston Eagle, Jim Kropfeld out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
He's averaged 124.840 for lap number 1, dropped it down to 114.2 on lap number 2, and he slowed way down to about 107 on this lap as he bounces out of corner number 4 en route to the checkered flag here in Heat 3B.
Still the battle for second place right now being won by Mark Tate in Oh Boy Alberto. He's going to see if he can hold off the charge from Cooper's Express as the checkered flag comes out for Jim Krumpfeld in Steve Boomer's Winston Eagle to take a win out on Lake Mead today. Second place will go to Oh Boy Oberto, the rookie driver out of Michigan. Second place to Mark Tate. He's got to be feeling awfully good. He earned that for sure. And third place to Mitch Evans in the Cooper's Express. Mitch has really had a good day out here and has gotten himself some points. He should make the final heat with ease. So your winner overall, the Winston Eagle, Oh Boy Oberto, second Cooper's, and then Jackpot Food Mart.
Jimmy, a dominating win and an absolutely picture-perfect start.
Well, the start worked out real good. I tried to get the inside, but I was off a little bit on my times at about 1.5 minutes, so I just kind of took what was left, and lane 3 was left, so I just swung wide with the Cooper's Express there with Mitch, and we just came on.
Now, you've just been running some excellent races all day long, but there's no doubt about it. You're probably getting the toughest pounding out there.
Well, me and 8 other guys. It's a very demanding race course. The rollers come across the lake, and there's a lot of pleasure boat action out there, and it really makes it really bad for the guys.